Alright guys, I'm back with another chapter in Genesis, and this chapter talks about the birth of Ishmael, and I'll get right into it. Now Sarai, one of those, Abram's wife, had not been able to bear children for him, but she had an Egyptian servant named Hagar. So Sarai, said to Abram, "The Lord has prevented me from having children. Go and sleep with my servant. Perhaps I can have children through her." And Abram agreed with Sarai's proposal. So Sarai, Abram's wife, took Hagar, the Egyptian servant, and gave her to Abram as a wife. This happened 10 years after Abram had settled in the land of Canaan. So Abram had sexual relations with Hagar, and she became pregnant. But when Hagar knew she was pregnant, she began to treat her mistress, Sarai, with contempt. Then Sarai said to Abram, "This is all your fault. I put my servant into your arms, but now that she's pregnant, she treats me with contempt. The Lord will show who's wrong, you or me." Abram replied, "Look, she is your servant, so deal with her as you see fit." Then Sarai treated Hagar so harshly that she finally ran away. The angel of the Lord found Hagar beside a spring of water in the wilderness, along the road to Shur. The angel said to her, "Hagar, Sarai's servant, where have you come from, and where are you going?" "I'm running away from my mistress Sarai," she said. The angel of the Lord said to her, "Return to your mistress and submit to her authority." Then he added, "I will give you more descendants than you can count." And the angel also said, "You are now pregnant and will give birth to a son. You are to name him Ishmael," which means God hears. "For the Lord has heard your cry of distress. This son of yours will be a wild man, as untamed as a wild donkey. He will raise his fist against everyone, and everyone will be against him. Yes, he will live in open hostility against all his relatives." Thereafter, Hagar used another name to refer to the Lord, who had spoken to her. She said, "You are the God who sees me." She also said, "Have I truly seen the one who sees me?" So that well was named Bir Lahai Roy. That's a tough one. Which means well of the living one who sees me. It can still be found between Kadesh and Bered. So Hagar gave Abram a son, and Abram named him Ishmael. Abram was 86 years old when Ishmael was born. I definitely think it's interesting, and I'd be curious to see, I guess not see, but try to understand. Obviously, it was God's intent. God's will. Okay, so intent is different from will. And I need to make sure that I use appropriate words when I'm describing things that are happening in the Bible. It was God's will that Abram lay with his wife's servant, giving birth to Ishmael and all those things. But I wonder sometimes if that choice that Abram and his wife made in haste, in desire for an heir or a son, that wasn't God's intent. And so I know it all works out according to his will, and I'm curious as to how Sarai would have felt hearing that her son was going to cause and be in the spotlight of so much turmoil. And you know, when you say you're going to have so many descendants, and so much rage and frustration is going to be from basically what the first descendant is and the source of what would be the following descendants, that you'd be disheartened by what you heard from the angel. And so I guess that's kind of confusing. I might have to go back through and read that a couple more times just to really kind of get an understanding of just what that would mean. Say, I know that if God gave me somebody, my children, why they come on, then that's a blessing. You know, how that turns out to be a blessing, I never know until it happens. But for the angel to tell her that her son is going to be a troublemaker, even with relatives, that'd be a tough pill to swallow, but I feel like he responds in such a thankful manner that that's still super humbling. That's difficult for me to understand though. And so I'm gonna have to go back and read or double check my study Bible. It gives Cliff Notes, and so I'd like to see what else they have as far as how to reflect on the story of Ishmael. And I have a whole section here that kind of gives some insight to that. So I'm probably going to look into that and see if I can find some answers that I really have now. But on that note, have a good night. God bless. I love you. Jesus loves you. And I'll be back for chapter 17 tomorrow, where it reads, Abram is named Abraham. Have a good night, guys. I'll see you tomorrow.